Our YouTube, what's going on? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how I became a successful Findom CashMaster and how potentially you could do the same thing, all right? So basically, my story starts a couple years ago. This was during the pandemic, I guess like a few years after the pandemic started, but we're still kind of in the pandemic. And I had an online business, an e-commerce business that started going under, and I was losing money every single day. I was living in a house that I couldn't afford anymore at that point. And so basically I was obviously working at that every single day really hard to try to get that back up and profitable. But you know, I had rent, I had bills, I had groceries, I had everything I had to pay for. So I was really scrambling to figure out how I was gonna pay for this without going into debt, taking out loans, credit cards. I didn't want to do any of that. So I Googled, some side hustles that I can try to make some extra money on the side while the main hustle is not working. All right. So I came across a video on YouTube, this is a few years ago, and it was a dude on there talking about how they were a Findom CashMaster and how they basically just, they had other people send them money because they wanted to serve them and to obey them and listen to them, right? And I was like, this seems right up my alley. I've always been a very dominant alpha male kind of personality in real life. Everybody who knows me knows this is the kind of person I am. I'm always, into action. I'm always, I'm a very tough dude. I've always been into, lifting, sports, eating healthy. I've always been into making money. I'm very like decisive in my actions and everything like that, right? So I knew that this was the perfect thing for me, So I set up an OnlyFans account. I figured that I could post content on OnlyFans and have people come there, and that way they can message me and they can send me tips, and I can send them custom content and this kind of thing, right? I've never used OnlyFans before this moment. So then I figured, let me promote it on other social medias, right? And this is where I started making mistakes at first. At first, I figured because nobody knows who I am, I'm gonna set my OnlyFans as a free OnlyFans, so you can come in there, you can see my stuff, and then if you want to message me and send me tips, you can. And obviously, like, I promoted myself on Reddit, on Twitter, all these kind of things, right? And a lot of people would subscribe for free, and they would try to message me, and I would try to explain to them, hey, I'm a Findom, I'm a CashMaster. I do this for Findom reasons. And 95% of them weren't interested in sending me money at all, and I was just wasting my time messaging back and forth with people who were not there to be Findom subs. Okay, so then I decided, let me fix this. I'm going to make my account private, and I'm going to charge a certain amount of money, not a lot, but a small amount of money, so that people think it's not a big investment. Let me see what's going on, right? So they paid a small subscription fee on OnlyFans, and now they're already invested, right? Because they've already put their card in, they spent a few dollars on me, and now when I'm telling them that I'm a Findom CashMaster and they need to obey me, they're already invested. So now it's easy to convince them to go ahead and send more money and to dive deeper into this whole process, right? So this is how I got started. This is how I made my first, couple $1,000s in a month. And after that, it really expanded quickly. I found new ways to promote my OnlyFans on different apps, on different social medias. I found different methods and tricks of getting my face out there, my profile out there, and it got to a point where I'm bringing in, a cool $10,000 a month, whether it's through OnlyFans, whether it's through my consulting other Findom CashMasters, or if I'm, just people from even this YouTube channel who message me and say they want me to be their Findom CashMaster, and then we just contact via, Snapchat or email or text, whatever the case is. So now I'm at a point now where I'm easily making $10K a month every single month, and that's how I got it started. All right, some quick tips for you if you want to start out. Make sure that you are a very dominant alpha person. If you are not, you gotta at least put on act. You know, you gotta go into actor mode. You know, you gotta pretend to be a dominant alpha personality. You don't need to be, you know, really good looking and have muscles, but I'm sure it helps, you know. And if you are a Findom sub and you are looking for a real Findom CashMaster, I'm available. My information is in the description of this video, my email and my Snapchat. Just know that if you do hit me up, I do charge a $75 tribute before we begin anything, all right? Anyways, y'all take care.